Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. I've already said my welcome, but I'll say it again. Thank you for coming. And thank you, Lynn, and our wonderful grant recipients. I know sometimes it's hard when you're not used to going out in public and speaking to be able to do that, especially our young people. Very, very grateful that you were able to do that, so thank you. And I want to thank Will and the tremendous team at TCF. Wonderful showing out here in the Valley. I really appreciate it. Over at that table, we've got human resources, we've got finance, we've got grants, we've got the Great Give, we've got development, we've got donor services, human resources. They're wonderful, I'm telling you. They just really make us hum. So I'm going to be echoing. That's probably part of the problem when you're one of the last ones to go up, is that you do end up echoing some of the things that you've already heard. But to echo Alan and Lynn, we've had a very busy year in 2016. And in addition to establishing the 14 funds you're going to hear about soon and awarding that close to $1.6 million in grants, we published that Valley Community Index, which you've heard about, and we laid the groundwork for the Valley Gives Back. It's a community-wide planned giving program initiative that Alan spoke briefly about in his remarks. When I came to the Valley 4 years ago, can you guys believe it was 4 years? When I came to the Valley 4 years ago, I was told by my board that a critical component in the establishment of the Community Foundation was that we could not compete against our nonprofits. The Valley nonprofits already had a challenge of trying to raise funds from this small community, and a portion of it was still in a recession or in a depression basically from the recession. So one of the things that we needed to do was to make sure that we weren't competing against our Valley nonprofits. So what I did was I went out and started meeting with all of the CEOs of the nonprofits and saying, how can I serve you? How can we serve you? Other than grant making. We know that's part of the rule here. We want to do the grant making and everything else. But these two initiatives that the VCF is going forward with right now, not only are we not competing against our nonprofits, but to me, we are truly serving our nonprofits with resources that they need. The one that we've been talking about, the Community Index, I would say that this initiative has taken off with all of our nonprofits in a very wonderful and deliberate way. The community effort for these nonprofits, it was probably almost every single nonprofit just about in the room tonight that's here participated in getting this index published and done, and I can't thank them enough. Since its publication, I've also visited all the board members, many of the board meetings of our grantees, to share with them the index, the importance of using this data to have discussions about their future programming. For example, in the index, as Alan had mentioned, the Valley is aging. You think it's probably a good portion of the index, considering both of us are taking it, but I didn't know Alan was going to bring it up. So I would have chosen the preschool piece, but for my remarks had I known. But anyway, you know, just to think about the aging population in the Valley, by 2020, 1 in 4 residents will be seniors here in the Valley. 90%, as Sue Riley knows, want to age in place. That doesn't sound like much, but when you start to think about it, what does that mean to our senior services? What does it mean for transportation? We already know transportation is an issue in many different areas. Even think about the conditions of our sidewalks in our downtown areas. All of these things really need to start being discussed and put in the plans as we move forward. It's things to think about. The index has opened the door to some really great conversations and hopefully some really great actionable items. Most recently, a number of us have started conversations with the Interfaith Council group, or the Interfaith group, I should say, And that interfaith group has said, this is a lot of great information, and it's important for us to know about it for our congregations. And so I hope a year from now I can stand before you and not only say that they are formed, our Valley Interfaith Council has formed, but they're actively participating in addressing issues that are here in the Valley with that community index as their guide. If you haven't seen the Shining a Spotlight, and I'm not going to try and find it because it is a really busy podium up here. The Shining a Spotlight is the highlight of the community index. And there are more of the spotlights out in the other room as you're leaving, picking up your annual report as well, that I'd like you to take a look at. And just really start to be informed. As Alan said, I think that it's incredibly important to be informed for our community and to start exploring ways that you can make a difference. I want to thank the VCF board. First, I want to acknowledge the VCF board. I don't think Alan asked you guys to raise your hands. Could our VCF board please raise your hands or stand up so the audience could see all of our board members? Thank you. This is really a tremendous, tremendous board, and I really want to thank them for the vision to make this report more than just a report. With their support and understanding of the importance of sharing community knowledge, we are able to support the Valley through its nonprofits in ways that are far beyond the grant making. And I want to acknowledge Mark Abraham. I didn't see if he came in. Did Mark come in? Mark Abraham is from Data Haven, and he was our partner with this community index and was just phenomenal in pulling down data that our nonprofits requested as far as indicators for the report. And of course, I do want to acknowledge Griffin Hospital for all their support, all the nonprofits that participated, that were on that advisory committee, and of course the funders, especially Griffin Hospital, the Catherine Matthews Foundation, the Bassett's, and the Valley United Way. Thank you all for making this report happen. So I don't have to tell you that the Valley is a very, very special place. We all have our reasons why we think so. For me, it's the culture, the camaraderie, and especially the long, long history of people working together and not in competition to make the Valley a better place. They're not in competition for that. I'm a true advocate of teamwork and of the old adage, a rising tide floats all boats. I believe the quality of the index reflects what happens when we work together for the common good. And I believe our newest initiative is going to demonstrate to you our commitment to the Valley and our Valley nonprofits even more. As I mentioned earlier, the nonprofits in our area struggle with fundraising. I don't think I'm saying that out of line. I think all the nonprofits, you guys would agree with that, right? So we all do because we're competing. We're competing in a very small area, in a small region, etc. And some of our nonprofits don't even have a development staff, let alone a planned giving person. Also, I know it's not any surprise to you that many people hesitate in giving gifts from assets that they may need in later years. Last year, we began work on a community-wide approach to share the message of giving back to the Valley through your estate planning. The VCF will work to promote the message and the information of how you can make a difference here in the Valley. We believe in order to build philanthropy in our region, we need to work together towards achieving this common goal, because a rising tide does indeed float all boats. With this approach in mind, tonight we're showing you basically a picture, I think. No, we're not going to show a picture. Okay. So we're not showing a picture, but on your table you do have a postcard, and on that postcard is the Valley Gives Back. And it's a postcard that has a few prompting questions on it, But most importantly, it's telling you what the website URL is. That is what's going live today, is the website. I'm going to invite you to go take a look and browse around that website, because the full strength of the initiative is not going to really kick off until later this year, November, December. And in the meantime, what we're going to be doing is having focus groups with our nonprofits, with our donors, with our fund holders. We've already had conversations with our professional advisors to give them a sneak peek at it. But we want you to take a look at this. It's a community effort, because again, many people cannot do it during their lifetime. It is in their planning, and it's something that they're not thinking about necessarily when they're doing all their planning. An attorney might say simply, do you have anybody, charities you want to give to? And that might be it. What we want to do is we want to have that message out there, please give back. Tonight we're going to be celebrating one of our largest bequests that we've received. And with that, it's all part of that giving back principle. So I'd like you to take a look at this site. And I'd like to actually, when the nonprofits go take a look at it, I want you guys to come up with a tagline for our effort here. Because it really is about giving back to the Valley, and whether it's directly to the community foundation or to a nonprofit, the rising tide floats all boats. So I want you to keep that in mind. Now, with talking about the legacy societies, planned giving, I want to bring your attention to each of our nonprofits' legacy societies. And I want to encourage you that if you do leave a gift to a nonprofit, I do encourage you to share that with the nonprofit, so the nonprofit can acknowledge you during your lifetime. It's very special people that give upon their planning and their estate planning. And it really is important for us to acknowledge it, so that we know as nonprofits that you have been doing this wonderful work of giving back. And with that in mind, we did special name tags for our legacy society, which is called the Gates Society, after the Gates brothers. And if you guys don't mind, would you raise your hands so that we can say hello and thank you? It really is nice. And you know, sometimes, and I'm going to say this because I'm a member of our legacy society, and it can be very easy to do. It literally can be just, you know, I didn't do it this way, but you could literally just have your savings account and have the organization be the beneficiary of that savings account. It's that simple. It can be that simple. It can be very complicated, but it can be that simple. So I want you to think about that. We want people to consider leaving something to the Valley, whether it's to the rec camp, whether it's to the diaper bank, whether it's to the region as a whole. It's giving back to the Valley that many of you have been here for generations and generations and love dearly. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Between me and Ken, you're probably thinking, okay, we just got to get all these life plans done. So I'm going to move on and just do a real quick recap and a plot for the Valley on the Great Give. How many of you participated in the Great Give this past week? Wonderful. This was, and Jackie, where's Jackie back there? There she is, she's over there. Jackie was instrumental at TCF, for the Great Give. I mean, her staff was too. But Jackie was phenomenal in putting this all together for the Great Give. This was the first year in which the Great Give took place after our annual reception. And I'm proud to say that we were part of a $1.3 million raise through the Great Give. This was made possible by 8,000 individuals who made 11,000 gifts. And we really, I'm going to say, really give an applaud to the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven for hosting this event. This is the 8th year that the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven has hosted this event and made it possible for our organizations here in the Valley. here in the Valley, we have a special ice cream social, so that's where we're going to be sharing the information about our Valley donors. But and that event is on May 25th, and more details about our prizes will come then. I would like to congratulate Shelton Center Stage. Where's Shelton Center Stage? Center Stage raised the most dollars in the 20-town region. And then I also want to do a great shout out to BH Care and the Boys and Girls Club of Lower Naugatuck Valley, who also placed, but that's really not good. But anyway, we're in overall one of the top 5. So the Valley organizations, it is, it's something to be very proud of. There's a lot of organizations. Jackie, how many organizations were in the Great Give? 470, and 3 of our Valley towns were on the top 5. That's phenomenal. So a tradition started back, I'm moving on to the next part of our program. A tradition started at the first VCF annual meeting 13 years ago was to introduce and welcome our new funds that were established in the VCF that past year. While we have 14 new funds here in 2016, we're going to be recognizing 9 of those this evening. One of our new fund holders has chosen to be anonymous, which is a choice that people can make. They can choose to be anonymous, to do their grant making anonymously, to do their giving anonymously. So we respect that, and so that fund is not going to be introduced tonight. And then you will see all the other 13 stories in our annual report. And then there are 4 funds that either respectfully declined to the public recognition as part of the program this evening, or were unable to attend. But I'd like to tell you a little about each of those. Linda Campola, where's Linda? Oh, she left. Oh. So Linda endowed the John Altiano Scholarship Fund. She was doing this in honor of her father for the last 13 years. And now the scholarship is endowed and is awarded to Derby High School senior in good academic standing and has participated in multiple sports and demonstrates deep civic pride for Derby. Another fund was established, John and Laura Zaprzalka added another generation onto their funds. This year, as Alan mentioned, they established a fund in honor of the early struggles John's grandparents had when they came here as immigrants. And this donor advised fund is the Katarzyna and Ludwig Zaprzalka Fund. You know, John, you and that Polish name, I'm telling you. I talked about it last night at the meeting. The family of Stella Bohuniak of Seymour. Does anybody know the Bohuniaks of Seymour? So the family of Stella Bohuniak of Seymour were unable to be here tonight. And to honor the memory and the legacy of perseverance that Stella gave her family, her children established the Stella Bohuniak Fund to help senior high school graduates transition into the next phase of their life, whether it's for scholarship support or other types of support. They want that fund to assist them. Another new fund that we would like to mention is the Charles P. Smith Scholarship Fund. Charles always valued education, and as a result, his daughter, Shelton High School's headmaster, Dr. Beth Smith, created this scholarship fund more than 20 years ago in memory of her dad. Now surpassing the endowed level, this scholarship fund supports graduating seniors from Shelton High School softball program as they continue their education and will continue to benefit Shelton High School and its students years to come. So I'd like to acknowledge also that Beth was not able to be here. She was going to plan to be here with her mom, but tonight she is actually at the Connecticut Association of Schools being recognized as the top principal in the state of Connecticut. So we do plan to recognize Beth at their award ceremony when they're giving out that scholarship. So we're very happy to have that scholarship, but we're also, as the Valley, very proud that she is being recognized as the principal. So please join me in recognizing these new funds that are coming here tonight. Now I'd like to ask Alan Timon, who's going to come and introduce our first new fund.